How's it going, everybody? It is Sandwhichpants here today, and I kind of want to go over a bit of the record of one Joseph Robinette Biden. Kind of what he's done, not his old record from the Senate and shit, not what he did as vice president. Because, I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of power to do a whole lot of things as vice president. I want to see how he is governed as president so far. Just overall. We'll get the good, we'll get the bad, we'll get criticisms out of the way. And then we're going to address some of the people I think are correct and how they go about critiquing. Some of the people I disagree with on how they critique. And even some praise for some of the people who I disagree with overall. Okay? Let's get started. These are all of them in one chart. Re-engage with the World Health Organization and just ends the create position of COVID-19 response coordinator. All right. Rejoin Paris Climate Agreement. Sign an instrument. Okay. Revoke permit for Keystone Pipeline. Pause energy leasing in Anwar, which was great. This is actually really solid. Okay. Uh, just taking down some notes. Some executive actions he's done. We've got American Jobs Plan, Leaders Summit on Climate, and then things on his first military action, and then another thing that he apparently has agreed to, which is really good. Ooh. If only I could fucking type normally. Or, properly, I should say. If only I could type properly. To extend eviction or I really can't type today. trying to keep it as short as I can, but some of these are a little bit long. Oh, I didn't know about some. I don't. I'm gonna have to look over the details of some of these to see just how effective they are. But these are just what they're being listed at. And I mean, it's by Market Watch, but you know. Executive Bronc. So many. Look at this. Okay. Some of these I have to reword because I know they're lies. Kind of have to go over all the regulations and stuff just so you know. This is one of the harder things to deal with. Is okay, so that's the voice is coming through. That's all that matters. I don't care. Um, this is just a research stream, you know. We're gonna be talking about how he did after I list out and then go over these things. So we're gonna go over each one of these executive orders. Uh, okay. There's so much stuff. No, 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 no. This is going to take a while to go over all this. It's going to take a while to write it all down, too. I don't know why I'm doing it that way. I don't need to paraphrase. Yeah. See? Ooh. Okay. Some of these seem really bad, and I don't know the well, not really bad, but they don't seem great. But I don't know the details of them. And other ones, I know the details of, and I can tell you whether or not I think they're okay or not. I don't know, I just did a thing. Whatever. This one's gonna... Yep. And just that. Yeah, that should work. No, 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 no. My god. Okay. You know what? Don't care. No longer care. Doing it. The whole sheet. Okay, so go ahead and begin ending Maine and Mexico program. Gone. Alright. Oops. Huh. That's the one I wanted. Because this has them all, I guess. Proclamations and everything, like everything he says is here. But this actually has the link directly to it. You can go over it. Don't need that one. And then we have his first military action, which took place a while back. We've got Al Jazeera, BBC, and Foreign Policy on a different thing. This is a different matter entirely. Not typing anymore. We're gonna talk to the people. How are y'all? Let me get chat popped out. How are we doing? We doing alright? Nice and chill? Feeling good today? Having a grand old time? If you had a bad day, I'm sorry. I hope it gets better for you. Let's take a look, a stroll down memory lane. They're not good memory. The U.S. has carried out an airstrike targeting Iran-backed military or militias in Syria in the first military action undertaken by the Biden administration. Pentagon said the strike destroyed multiple facilities and was ordered in response to attacks against U.S. and coalition personnel in Iraq. A militia official said one person had been killed, but a war monitor reported at least 22 fatalities. Syria condemned the attack as a bad sign from the new U.S. administration. Okay, but Assad did? I mean, it's still a bad move. Kinda. Depending. Because, see, it seems like they were doing a bombing in Syria, quote unquote, as retaliation. But it could almost just as easily be that the actual part of the actual motivation that wasn't going to be spoken was that he wanted to do something to try and protect Rojava. civilian contractor killed in a rocket attack. Na 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 na. Messaging around the strike. Important than the strike itself. 10 days elapsed between trigger 15 rocket attack and air bill. U.S. Defense Secretary has made a point of thanking the Iraqi government for its intelligence input. Of course they would. The Pentagon said the airstrikes had been conducted together with diplomatic measures, including consultation with coalition partners. Nor did the attack take place on Iraqi soil, thus minimizing any embarrassment for the government in Baghdad. In short, Washington seems to be drawing a sharp distinction with the more intemperate, unilateral instincts of the previous administration. But at a time when the Biden administration is exploring ways of reviving the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, the strike also sends a message to Tehran. Just because we're willing to sit down and talk doesn't mean your proxies around the region can do what they want. Not entirely a fan of this particular message here. It targeted facilities located at the border control point used by a number of Iran-backed militia groups, including Kataib Hezbollah and Kataib Saeed al-Shuhada, who are allied with the Damascus government. Kataib Hezbollah and Kataib Saeed al-Shuhada have previously carried out or supported rocket attacks against U.S. assets in the country. The U.S. has launched retaliatory strikes. Yeah, I don't like the idea of the retaliatory strike. They can perpetuate things. I think if you defend yourself pretty well, then you're good. But if you do retaliation, But Kataib Hezbollah has denied involvement in recent attacks against U.S. interests. In a statement, the Pentagon said its latest operation sends an unambiguous message. President Biden will act to protect American and coalition personnel. At the same time, we have acted in a deliberate manner that aims to de-escalate the overall situation in both eastern Syria and Iraq. U.S. did not confirm any casualties, but an Iraqi militia official told the Associated Press news agency at least one fighter was killed and a number of others wounded. Observatory for Human Rights, a UK-based monitoring group, said the U.S. attack had killed at least 22 fighters from the Popular Mobilization Forces, an Iraqi umbrella group, mostly Shia paramilitaries that includes Kataib Hezbollah. Iraqi umbrella group? The strikes destroyed 3 lorries carrying munitions. Casualties. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Air raids were deliberate. Famous Trump. Some commentators said there was a clear effort to draw a distinction between Biden and his predecessor Donald Trump, who in response to attacks on coalition forces in Iraq used the most disproportionate force by killing the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani, said Al Jazeera's Shihab Ratansi. Saeed Mohammed Marandi, a professor of English literature and Orientalism at the University of Tehran, said the move showed how Biden and Trump are the same. Syria said the air raids were a cowardly act and urged Biden not to follow the law of the jungle. Syria condemns in the strongest terms the cowardly U.S. attacks on the area. Border. The Biden administration is supposed to stick to international legitimacy, not to the law of the jungle, as did the previous administration. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Saeed Khatibzadeh said the airstrikes were illegal aggression and violation of human rights and international law, Iran's state media reported. Iran's foreign ministry announced on Saturday that Khatibzadeh traveled to Syria shortly after the airstrikes and met with a host of officials, including Syrian Foreign Minister Faisal Magdad and Senior Presidential Advisor Bhutani Shaban. Bhutina Shaban, I think. I don't know. I'm probably butchering these names. I'm so sorry. Khatibzadeh. Yeah, Khatibzadeh told Syrian officials Iran will continue to stand with the country's government and people, according to the foreign ministry. None of the statements released by the foreign ministry mention Iran-backed assets being hit in Syria. U.S. journalist Ayman Moyeldin drew a timeline to show similarities between Biden's move and several former U.S. presidents. U.S. has long been criticized for military intervention in several Muslim-majority countries, such as Iraq and Libya, and imposing regime change leading to political chaos and instability, which is true. In the U.S., the move is also not, yeah. I mean, it's not good, but there might be some nuance to it. Let's see. Necessary deterrent. Yeah. Let's see. What is this? The Kurdish forces? Okay. So, seems to be kind of praised here a little bit, but of course, because it's fucking BBC. And, oh yeah, I've been told this guy, watch out for him. Watch out for him. Hmm. Oh, and Biden himself, yeah. Biden has said that he kind of supports repealing the authorization for use of military force that allowed the war on terror to begin. This one, I think, might be the least likely, but at the same time, it could be the most likely. Biden's old as fuck, and people have complained for a long time about the president being able to do shit and declare war. Okay, this one's pretty good. Second, even as president, Biden has an interest in getting Congress to take greater ownership of the United States' far flung military activities. When presidents can treat prior authorizations as a blank check to justify whatever they want the military to do, members of Congress can sit back and criticize their decisions without having to take the responsibility themselves. Congress is responsible for this every bit as much as the president. Doves can complain that the presidents are misusing their authority and leading us into pointless quagmires, and hawks can express their outrage whenever a president fails to take some military action they favor. By contrast, when members of Congress actually have to vote for or against an authorization to use force, they can be held responsible for their decision, sometimes with telling effects. The presidential hopes of former Senator Sam Nunn, a Georgia Democrat, took a fatal hit when he opposed the Gulf War, which ended in a military triumph, and Senator Hillary Clinton's decision to support the 2002 AUMF authorizing the invasion of Iraq played no small part in her defeat by Obama, who had opposed the war in 2008. At the very least, such circumstances force legislators to pay attention to what their constituents want. Hell no. Wonderful. I feel empowered. Nah. Okay, and it even says here. This was March. Last week, the Biden administration announced it wanted to work with Congress to repeal the 2001 and 2002 authorization for use of military force and replace them with a narrow and specific framework. And, yeah, there are several reasons why it would be beneficial, and if Biden actually holds true to this shit, partly because I think a decent number of the actual people in the military would like that, it starts the process of getting us out of these wars and lets us be way more diplomatic. Literally having some training forces that we have there, like people who train other governments' forces, like other militaries, and a group of people to keep them safe while they help rebuild is actually a thing. Like, it really is. You can't just pull out of a country that you fucked up and then just expect it to rebuild. You can't do it unless you want them to have a massive power vacuum and a lot of fighting, and then essentially a worse situation than what you were there for arises. So if you want to perpetuate instability in the Middle East, then yeah, you just pull out. Okay? If you understand the consequences of your actions, then you don't. This is the opposite of, you know, not of trying not to have a child. You don't pull out with the military that quickly. You can't just immediately just pull everybody back, not after you've destabilized a region. Now, what I think should happen is we can filter out American troops and get some like actual like coalition people. Like an actual coalition. Not America and a couple of other countries. No. I want like a small contingent of America, a small contingent of like Russia, I guess, even though I don't like Russia. A small contingent of, Vietnamese, just people in the region to help out with protecting the country against foreign threats while they rebuild. And that, now I know, it sounds a little weird, but here's the thought process. If they if a bunch of countries in that region decide to help each other out or help, if a bunch of them decide to help a country out with rebuilding and filtering out the massive influence America has in there and kind of being able to have some more a little bit more diverse input if they're defending from enemies that are trying to attack, and that goes successfully, then if there becomes another problem, you already have good relations because you helped them rebuild. And if there's a problem, hopefully they'll come to your aid as well. So you can start doing a mutual aid kind of agreement, building good relations with other countries in the area. Because if you just leave, then shit goes poorly. You create a power vacuum. There are armed militias that'll try and take, like Libya, I think, is in that position because of Gaddafi, and not because of anything he did, but because we had him murdered. That's the issue. So that's the military strike is bad on Biden, right? We have we have all this. Let's go over the ones that I definitely know, and then I can speculate on the ones that seem really bad. All right? Because I don't feel like reading through all of them. To be completely fair, I'm very lazy. I'll read through some of them. Audio streams bitrate is well. I'm not playing any music or any. Yeah, see, like the sound comes through. I think that's fine. I can. Can you guys hear? Am I audible? Fucking hope I am. I don't know why Streamlabs is doing the thing, but it does. So, what do we have here? We've got re-engage with the World Health Organization. Let's go ahead and come over here and go. Good. Create position of COVID-19 response coordinator. Good. Rejoin Paris Climate Agreement. Good. 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 As a matter of fact, for this one, great. Good, because I haven't read the actual thing, so. But just based on this, launch an initiative to advance racial equity and end the 1776 Commission? Solid. Pretty fucking good. I like that. Revoke order that aims to exclude undocumented immigrants from census. Good. Glad to hear. Fire mask. Oh. Passing. Yeah, we'll put barely passing because these I don't want it to come off in the wrong context. But he stopped the construction of the border wall. Asterisk. He did allow some gaps to be finished. He stopped the construction of the overall wall, filling in some of the places that were already there that was just like they just needed to be connected to not have like a 10-foot gap in between a section and another section that were already built. Essentially that kind of thing, but in more than one area. So I disagree with that, but the overall stopping of the construction brings it to a barely passing. Combat discrimination on the basis of sexual identity and gender. Require ethics pledge. God damn it. And harsh and extreme enforcement. Uh, Expected. Exceeds expectations on that regard. I did not expect Biden to do wonderful on, or to do even decent on immigration enforcement. Phyllis was okay. So what we've got going on here is a bunch of decent stuff, and I'm grading it. So we got re-engaged with the World Health Organization and withdrawal process. That's good. Create position of COVID-19 response coordinator under an executive order. That's good. Rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement. That's good. Revoke permit for Keystone XL pipeline. Pause energy leasing in ANWR. Great. That's actually great because, Keystone pipeline damaging to the environment, to the it'd be an ecological disaster. And he's like, nah. Ask agencies to extend eviction and foreclosure moratoriums. Really good. That keeps people in their homes. Ask education department to extend student loan pause. That's good. Keeps people able to start saving up a little bit of money or survive, depending. Launch an initiative to advance racial equality in 1776 Commission. Good, because I haven't seen the thing. Let's go. Revoke order that aims to exclude undocumented immigrants from census. This is pretty good because, apportionment of funds, and more liberal cities are more likely to just have undocumented immigrants because conservatives are all a bunch of whiny fucking bitch babies and they don't like the brown people, so they whine about it. And then they call ICE and try and get them thrown out and deported. And liberals are less likely to do that. And so trying to keep them off the census would reduce the amount of funding that goes to liberal cities. Which is most cities, actually. Cities are more liberal. Rural areas are not. Revoke order that aims to exclude that. Okay, preserve fortified DACA, which helps dreamers. Good. Require masks and social distancing on federal property and by federal workers. Good. Help mitigate the spread of COVID. You can't do it across the board. Reverse travel ban targeting primarily Muslim countries. Good. Stop construction of border wall. Again, he's filling gaps that are currently left in between sections of wall that are pretty close. Is my understanding. I don't think they're doing anything more than like 30-foot gaps. Not filling anything more than that, and then they're just they're not constructing anything new. But, so, we're at the barely passing on that. Combat discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. Based as fuck. This one I don't know the language of, and I don't know exactly what it goes for. I'm gonna, you know what? We'll just call it this. Based. I went with it on this one. I mean, I've read this one before. This one. Combat discrimination. Read this one before. Based as fuck. Require ethics pledge. This one's performative. I think it's just meh. It doesn't do anything really Because ethics pledges, sure. You can take an ethics pledge and then you just don't actually adhere to anything that you did. I mean, there's people who swear oaths on the Constitution and they don't uphold to that oath. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Modernize and improve regulatory review could be good. End harsh and extreme immigration enforcement. Better than what it's honestly better than I expected from Biden. I kind of expected him to lessen what Trump was doing, but essentially do exactly the same methods and everything, family separation and whatnot, because I thought he'd be kind of a ghoul. But I thought he'd be an extreme ghoul, I should say, instead of only kind of a ghoul. Extend protection from deportation for Liberians in U.S. Based. Revoke certain executive orders concerning federal regulation. I don't know the language of this one, so I'm putting sketchy. Freeze any new or pending regulations. Uber sketchy, because I don't know what those regulations that are trying to be passed are. Probably old Trump shit, but I don't know them, so I'm putting them at sketchy because I don't fucking know. I don't know all the regulations. Not my job to. My job is to kind of give a understanding of what I believe, why I believe what I think is good, and a good way to go about things, and try and like also learn a bit. I do some like research and stuff on stream with y'all. This is just baseline looking over things that Biden's already done. I'm not doing a super deep dive research thing on it. Not today. So yeah, uber sketchy. Fill supply shortfalls in fight versus COVID-19 with Defense Production Act, other measures. Good. Increase FEMA reimbursement. 4 states, or 2 states for National Guard and PPE. Pretty solid. The National Guard is actually like one of the closest things to having a quote-unquote community defense. It's essentially the state militia. And if they weren't getting if they were being funded by the people like us, and they were all just people like us, then we could have an anarchist state. You still pay the taxes. You're going to have to deal with the federal government still somehow. But within the state, like at a state level of things, you can start doing anarchist things. Now, will it get crushed by the federal government? Who knows? Maybe. If you're paying your taxes, will they really care that much? Okay. Establish COVID-19 pandemic testing board, expand testing. That's good because, COVID, I'm tired of this shit. Not that I have it, but I'm tired of hearing about it and having to deal with it. Good. These are good. Provide guidance on safely reopening school. Participatory class is not the same thing as participatory economics, by the way. Most of these have to do with COVID, so. Well, I don't like the restore U.S. leadership portion of this, but I understand what they're going for. This is actually decent. This one's pretty good. All right. Um, I'm gonna go over all of these in a second because some of these I don't really like actually, but we've gone through these. Solid, good. Yeah. Okay. So we established a pandemic testing board for COVID-19 and expanded testing, and that was actually a really solid move. Like, I really do like that one. It's in the good category. It's not in the based category, but it's in the good category. And bolstering access to COVID-19 treatments and clinical care is actually really good. I'm actually going to put, like, super A plus for. Wait. Okay. All right. So that's where we want it. That is a super A plus, which is just below based, by the way. Improve collection and analysis of COVID-19 data, pretty good. Mount vaccination, yeah. Mount vaccination campaigning amid goals such as 100 million shots in 100 days, and he actually succeeded in that, and that was pretty good. Provide guidance on safely reopening schools. Study participatory classes, which is where you get to decide whether or not you go to the class every day, or whether or not you want to go and like take a test every couple of weeks or come in with like the finals and see if you can pass. And all of your testing will be done with no notes, but you will be given advance notification that you need to come in and take this test to see where you stand and to see if you need any help. You can always ask to come in for a day or two. You can just show up for a day or two if you need individual like work. But I think not having every single child forced to go into a classroom, because kids don't always learn the same way, and sometimes kids learn better if they're just left alone with the material to study it. And then if they need help from somebody, they just ask the teacher, but they don't really need the thing. And some kids need a lot more individual help on certain subjects, especially. So it would open kids up a little bit more because I mean, their parents. Ideally, we wouldn't need to have everybody be working like super hard all the time, and so like parents or somebody could be home. There's usually one parent home if you're in a two-parent household that is moderately well off. Or or if you're struggling really hard and one of your parents has a disability that made it to where they were, and their doctor didn't know a whole lot about it, and doctors in general didn't know a whole lot about it, and they were told to stay home and not work. Oh my god, I haven't even read all of these. I didn't even know. Okay. Oh my god! Okay. I'm not gonna grade every single one of these. I think because these last ones, I mean, okay. Okay, okay. So basing things off of his executive actions, okay? Because people are always like, "Oh, their words don't mean anything." His executive actions. Let's go. Let's go. All right, let's go. What do we have? Okay, we. I'm not going. Like I said, I'm not grading every single one of these. Where's my public option, Joe? This one's performative bullshit. This one's possibly meh. It's not great. Keep aluminum tariffs on UAE. I'm not entirely sure if I agree with that. Begin ending remain in Mexico program. Yeah, that's good actually. Start rollback of public charge rule, which imposes a wealth test on would-be immigrants. Yeah, that's bad. Review other recent barriers to legal immigration. Okay, that's pretty fucking solid. Great task force to reunite migrant families. Yeah, good. Retroactively reimburse states for fully for FEMA eligible cost tied to. Okay, good. Rebuild U.S. refugee resettle. Good. Good. Even though it's performative because we don't have that kind of authority. Prevent me. So it's mostly performative bullshit. Prevent Myanmar military from accessing property. Okay. Reestablish the White House Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. No. I mean, neighborhood partnerships is good, but I don't like the faith-based part. Rescinded Trump order creating industry-led apprenticeship programs. Okay. Review supply chains for semiconductors and other critical goods. Probably a good idea. Although it's probably like anti-China shit, so I don't know about that. Revokes a range of Trump orders, such as one targeting anarchist cities. Dope. Do you see that? Do you see it? Revokes a range of Trump orders, such as one targeting anarchist cities. I'm an anarchist, and I live in a city. Guys, Joe Biden saved me from being targeted by Trump. Okay, that's actually pretty good, though. Direct federal agencies to expand voter registration and access and election information. That's pretty good. Gender Policy Council? No idea what that means, but based on other things I've seen here, probably based. Probably super based. Directs Education Department to review rules about education and sexual violence. Okay, maybe. Create commission to study possible Supreme Court reforms. Probably good. Create a task force to promote labor organizing. Okay, just so you know, that's actually how I feel about this. Increase federal contractor thing. You know what? Fuck it. I'll do some more. Just a few. Uh, all right. So I guess we are grading like pretty much all of them. All right. I see a couple of sketchies. I see some participatory or participatory. I see some yeah, some meh kind of sketchy stuff. I see some I see some possibly okay, and I see some more iffies, a couple of solids, some performatives. Performatives, yeah. There's a decent number of those. See, this one's like, yeah. Now I understand they're probably viewing it as a racist thing, but having people come back into the country if they've got like I guess with COVID testing and shit and vaccines and blah 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 blah, it's probably safer now. But no, I don't know. I don't know when it got no, February 24th. Yeah, back then there was no way. There was no way it was safe. Depending on what that one was. That's why it's a I don't know exactly what that one is. Now, this one says top tier based, direct agencies to engage in consultations with tribal governments. Based. Direct HUD to address discriminatory housing practices. Awesome and based and bread pilled. Into the Justice Department's use of private prisons. Now they're phasing it out, but it's still extremely based. Like they're not being able to renew their contracts with them. So we've got quite a few bastes, judging from the uh, executive orders and shit. Rescind a Trump order creating industry-led apprenticeship program. I don't know anything about that. Review supply chains for semiconductors and other critical goods. Not sure. Personally, I personally think it could be an incorrect move. I think we should be strengthening our relationship, including with countries like China, who I think are not good. The leadership of China, terrible. The government structure, I don't like it. I don't really like our government structure that much either. I think we could do better. But I think we are better than a one party state. But I think we need to improve the relations so that we have the ability to try and sway them in a better way instead of just, being dickheads. Create task force to promote labor organizing. What the fuck? This is so goddamn based. I can't believe this is something Joe fucking Biden is doing. Life doesn't make a lick of sense anymore. This must be a good version of the Twilight Zone. This is absolutely a thing. Joe Biden. Now, there's been bad, okay, but these are just the executive actions. I am grading the executive actions that Joe Biden has done. Because he has done some bad things, like engaging in, like, the Middle East and shit militarily. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad, okay? He's kind of... He's renewing that fight for 15, though, god damn it. I've been telling people. He did not drop it. He's just approaching it from a different manner. He's got to recontextualize and re-strategize. That's what it takes. Sometimes you can't just go at it with a singular mind and a singular strategy. You have to be able to change your shit up. And guess what? He did. It's not really been that long. I'd say if it'd been like 6 months into his presidency and he hadn't even put up another bill, and 6 months after the first one got dropped, then I'd be like, yeah, he hasn't continued the fight. Or even like 4 months in. But it hadn't been that long, okay? You have to be able to re-strategize and come at things in a different way. And so he did. He passed this executive action right here. Increase federal contractor minimum wage to 15. That's a little simplified. He did it for federal contractors, federal employees, and federal tipped workers. All of them get $15 an hour minimum wage now. So, that's good as fuck. That, right there, helped 390,000 people who just had their wages increased. And now that doesn't sound like a whole lot of people, but that's still 390,000 fucking people who just had a, 37% increase of their wages. Like 36.82 or whatever. That's really good for them. Now, it scales up to by 2024. But the deal here is Biden, when he did it, he was like, and it's not going to cost the taxpayer a single dollar, because when you increase the gains at the bottom, it has a ripple effect through the economy, which is true. A fascist figured that out. Henry Ford figured that out. Like, he knew. Adam Smith, probably, if I remember Wealth of Nations right, I'm pretty sure he said something about how people should be reimbursed for their work well. So, I heard today, people discussing Murray Bookchin and how he created communalism because capitalism evolves and changes. And it's true, it did. Capitalism changed from being individuals trying to own their own small things and working within their communities to multinational, large-scale corporations who have extraordinary amounts of influence. This is true. But communalism was created because Bookchin thought that Marxism couldn't get you to the proper lens of analysis. So, here's my rebuttal. Marxism focuses on class antagonisms. This is true. Which a lot of orthodox Marxists turn out to be kind of class reductionist. But if you are a good Marxist, you have studied the offshoots of critical theory. And you know about intersectionality, which I have been looking at. I've been studying. Just, I don't do it on stream. Because I want to be able to just summarize the points and make it easier for other people to understand. Because reading Sociology 101 and preceding texts is... holy fuck. But knowing what intersectionality is pretty much half the battle. You just kind of look at historical contexts of people's different positions based on their class, their race, their gender identity, their sexual orientation, and you see where they have intersecting oppressions and where that is. It does lead to a lot of liberal lid pull, though. I'll tell you that right now. Overall, from what I've seen here, I'm gonna give him a B minus. Because I remember a lot of these executive orders, because, I do kind of listen to the news and follow it fairly closely and even cover some of it. But overall, yeah, I'm going to give him a B minus. On executive orders only, okay? Biden's executive order rank, B minus. His presidency overall, kind of a C minus. Pretty C minus like. Does that thing just freak out all the time? I don't know. Got 2 playbacks. Hello. How are we doing today? Oh. That's my neck. Preference federal government specifically. Reading rainbow. Supporting government to reduce disparity in response cares, including racial and ethnic disparities. Production is amended as coordinating the federal government's efforts to expand COVID-19 testing and response, coordinating the federal government's the population. Enjoy. Beatbox sampling from Sandwhichpants. The whitest kids you know. United States leadership on global. Okay. Biological threats and pandemics to coordinate the federal government. I don't speak as fast as I can read. Because probably the fastest I could speak is about on here. But even then, I kind of stumble over my words sometimes. And I'm actually preparing kind of what I'm thinking of saying. Like, I'm thinking about it in my head a little bit beforehand. So it's easier for me to say. And I even then will trip over my words sometimes. I'd have to really memorize something to be able to speak really fast. And I'd have to really work at it to be able to speak as fast as I want to. I'm not Destiny over here. I don't do the debate lord shit. I don't sit there with the wait. None of that. Not my thing. This seems, yeah, pretty solid. See, like, fact check the American Jobs Plan. This thing's a lot longer. Look at this thing. That's about as much air as I could hold and release in that manner. No, I've actually heard this read to me. This thing is actually really fucking good. Okay, because it's yeah, big ass like infrastructure thing, and then leader on climate summit is him like with the rejoining of the Paris Climate Accord and shit like that. So these are pretty decent. That one's actually really good, and we've got the presidential elections archived, so we can always come back here if we need to resort if we need to go and look at something, you know. And then I hit the button. It depends. I think you can be dark, and that's also sometimes considered edgy, is to be like really dark and not have it be racism. But you know, of course they're gonna call it racist attacks on Tim Scott. Tim Scott had a bad opinion. It was very dumb. Be completely honest. Uh, he was talking about how we don't need essentially the way that because with intersectionality and like historical shit goes, you have to recognize who the person who does the oppression is, and it's usually it, it it's historically straight white uh, Christian males or just people in general, but mostly dudes. And so when people call you an oppressor or a colonizer, they're trying to as a delegitimizing effect. Because other people will be like, "Oh, he's white," so you know, it does have some very, very, very minorly negative consequences. Uh, Occasionally, people are extra shitty to you if you say something that they disagree with. Whoa. Yeah, they can get really fucking shitty at you. Sometimes what you say that they disagree with is really bad. Sometimes what you say is is a bit racist. Now for me, it's people just accusing it when all I'm saying is, "Hey, you probably shouldn't like just murder people." Like straight up, please just don't murder people. Defend yourself, sure. You're being aggressed on. Make sure you can defend yourself, but don't just murder people. Seems bad, you know. And then telling me I'm a racist for that, and then I'm gonna get the wall. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't. Somebody would really have to explain that to me. Uh, let's listen to you, you dumb motherfucker. Oh god. Okay. You know what? I don't want to cover Langford. He's hard to listen to. I truly despise him, and I want to do something, which is eat. So, hour and 38 minutes. Yeah, it's a bit shorter, but I'm wrapping it up. I appreciate all of you. Yeah, I do appreciate y'all for tuning in. It really does mean a lot. So go ahead and if you're not, hit that subscribe. All right. Leave likes. Go ahead, please. Like that if you do like it. Outweigh give my channel some metrics. Helps boost the content. More people can find me, and they can listen to me speak in different ways, depending on how I want to present information at that particular time. I can even lower my voice to deeper tones. So if this is a little bit more relaxing for you, then you can listen to this. Go ahead. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe. Leave a comment. Or whatever whenever the video gets uploaded. Or leave a chat. Because I am about to get something to munch on. And potentially play some video games. So again, thanks for tuning in. Y'all take care. I'm out.